Namaste. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My voice is still recovering from last week, so please forgive me if I sound a bit nasally. I did not want to put off doing this video again. Part of this video is my personal reflection and getting to know the Superlunaris Tarot, which is a fairly new deck to my collection. And today we're going to be looking at 3 tarot decks side by side. These 3 decks are all collage decks, and I will tell you a little bit more about each of them as we go through. First of all, I don't believe I introduced myself. My name is Sadhana. I am an intuitive reader and healer, and part of my process in getting to know tarot decks is in side-by-side comparisons. I do like to compare apples with apples as much as possible, but sometimes if we are comparing apples and oranges, we do see things that we wouldn't necessarily see in a deck if we were looking at it on its own. And so I find this to be a really great process in looking at decks side by side. So please join me in this conversation. And I thought what I would do just for fun is to pull my favorite card of the 3 and then do a count at the end to see from which deck I have the most cards that resonate with me more. And I'm staring at these full cards here, and I have to say that none of them really float my boat, so to speak, but I will choose one card for each of the 78. And I appreciate your feedback as well too. So let's just have a look at the boxes. I will just let you know what we are looking at today and the order. So from left to right. So on the left is the Superlunaris Tarot. The one you're looking at is the 2nd edition, and I have put in the alternate Emperor card. I believe also the alternate Empress card as well too. This deck came out in 2021, early 2021, I believe. The 2nd printing was March, so I'm not sure when the 1st printing was. This of the 3 is the newest to my tarot library, and it was because I had seen many of you rave about this, even students in class showing particular cards, and that Hierophant card really kind of got to me. So I think that's one of the reasons that this deck is here today. Collage decks are not really my thing. I love original cohesive art in a deck. That really speaks to me the best. But I have worked with the textured since I got it in 2018. And once in a while, a collage deck, really does do something special. And there's some amazing collage decks out there. And these are the 3 that we'll look at today. So the newest one for me is the Superlunaris. The Muse Tarot is on the far right, and that is a Chris Ann deck. This is the mass market version published by Hay House that came out in 2020. I do not have the indie version of either the Light Seers or the Muse Tarot. This has a slightly different lean to it. It's a very feminine deck, and we'll talk about some of those characteristics as well too. And in the center is the Textured Tarot by Lisa McLaughlin, which comes purchased through Etsy, comes out of the UK. 2018, I believe, is the year on that deck. Of the 3, this is the one I've had the longest, used the most, and I have to say my favorite card in the Textured Tarot probably is the Queen of Pentacles. It's pretty special, along with the 4 of Swords. It's very, very precious in that deck. So welcome to those of you that are strolling on in. Garden, Blooms, and Tarot. I am just really curious if I know who you are. Garden, Blooms, and Tarot. If you know me, I do keep a list of people as I meet them. I don't have your name. Anyway, welcome. If you want to share your name, please feel free. Lydianne is renewed her membership, so thank you for that, Lydianne. Helen, hello, and Tamianne, welcome. It's Michelle. Okay. Michelle, I'm just looking. Is this Michelle S, or is this a different Michelle? Let me know. Okay. All right, so let's get to the cards because this is what you're here for. You're not here to hear me ramble about boxes and publishing dates and things like that. Cardstock. I want to say that of the three, the Superlunaris has a superior cardstock. For riffle shufflers, beautiful to shuffle. I've always had a bit of a beef with the textured tarot being a bit too cardboardy for me. Hay House decks are also very, very thick. It is Michelle. Okay, hi Michelle. Nice to have you with me twice in one day. Okay, so of these three, I am going to pick this one, but it definitely, I have to say, it's not really doing much for me. Any of these Fool cards. Magician. And I'd like you to have a look at what speaks to you and perhaps what it is that talks to you. Some people with the textured tarot really love the mixed media, the fabric and the paint, the real life objects. For me, when I look at that magician card in Superlunaris, this is a deeply connected magician, and I feel the energy of the card. Out of the three, by far, this is the most powerful personally. And I know in this deck here, color plays a big role for a lot of people in the Muse Tarot. The Muse Tarot I do use for creative inspiration, just like Chris Ann's, I'm going to call it the business oracle that originally came out. These decks work really well if you are indeed looking for a muse and looking for creative inspiration. Hello, Elizabeth, welcome. High Priestess. I think both the textured tarot and the Superlunaris make a significant effort as far as diversity goes, and I know a lot of people really appreciate that. I don't dislike any of these. I think these are all done really well. I'm very curious, the runes that are floating around the High Priestess in the Muse Tarot, I find absolutely fascinating. I love the way that the moon is piercing her left hand. There's something very, very powerful there for me. So this one's going to go into my pile. This is an easy one. Though the planetary influence in the fabric of the Tamian likes the High Priestess. You know what? I'm going to stop and look at your comments as we go through. I don't want to get behind. So I have an hour, so hopefully we'll get through this. Yeah, so thank you. Please enjoy and feed off each other as we pick our favorite cards, okay? We do have a pregnant Empress for sure in the center, and I have chosen the alternate Empress card here. I'm not sure that I'm not going to pull out the other ones. The one thing I do love about the Empress on the far left is that the crown, the stars remind me of bees, and there's something very special about that energy that feels really beautiful to me. Emperor. I've always been fascinated. The Emperor in the Muse Tarot is really creative, the way that the mountain fills the body of the Emperor. And in this particular deck, there's something about the music that is really important as well, too. The way that the notes are spread across the page. One of you commented, so I have done a side-by-side comparison of the textured with the Muse Tarot before, some time back. And I made a comment on this particular Hierophant card, and one of you laughed at me. I think I called it weird. That's a funny thing to say. It's very similar to a Hermit card. And I don't know if I was commenting on the shark that appears to be in the ocean, or whether you see that as a stone protuberance, whatever that is. But yeah, I am going to choose the Sadhu on the far left as my favorite card here. When there's a very particular situation where I pull out the Muse Tarot, and often it has to do with a business reading, a developmental reading. It has to do with creative energy. And like I said, I often pull out the two Chrysan decks and work with them together because I find them that they are really inspiring. And as you'll see, the suit of fire in Chrysan's deck is called the suit of inspiration. So, wow, this is another one of those where I'm just staring at them going, which one do I choose? I can't really say that any of them do anything at all for me. I'm very curious about the one in the Muse, so let's just pull that one by default. Chariot. Hmm. You know, I've talked about the tarot so much on my channel. And part of the experience of the chariot is that commitment to strength of going forward. In the deck on the left, I really do love that we have that Cancerian energy. We also see the strength and the gesture of the charioteer in the wheelchair. Um, it's beautiful, beautiful. But I have to say that there's something about the light that is emanating from the belly of the charioteer in the Muse Tarot that really speaks to me the most. In all of these decks, strength is the 8th card. And this is a card that it needs to be really, really well done for me to feel this card. And I suppose, you know, the one on the left or the far right, they're both about the same for me. There is an amazing strength card in Tarot of the Hidden Realm. That is one that I love. Druidcraft is another one with the boar, I believe. And without a doubt, this is one of my favorite cards in the Textured Tarot. As Tamianne said about the mature High Priestess, that was Tamianne, right? Yeah. This hermit in the texture to me is absolutely stunning. Really, really like this card. In the wheel in the center, we do see the sabbats around the outside. There is a little bit of other symbology. We see the four, instead of the four figures in the corners, we have the four symbols of the cartomancy symbols on the top of the card. And I suppose that the wheel in the Superlunaris is slightly out of focus because it's moving. But I'm not sure that I appreciate that enough to choose that as I'm gonna actually take this one. Okay, Justice. Justice. This is a tricky card. And you know, there are not a lot of justice cards that I really resonate with. Justice, whether it is legal or karmic, is a super important concept in the tarot. It is about balance. There are traditional symbols that are important. And yeah, I suppose I might go with the one in the center. The one on the far left reminds me sort of like a priestess initiation that you might see. Yeah, it looks like something from there as opposed to a justice card. So I'm going to go with this one here. And if you haven't seen these cards side by side, these decks side by side before, hopefully this will help give some clarity if you're doing a little bit of shopping. But this is, again, this is not, the purpose of this exercise is not to, have you run out and buy another deck. It's just simply to reflect on perhaps which one, maybe you haven't used one of these for a while, or you'll see something that you can frame in a new voice, perhaps. The Hanged Man is connected to the energy of Neptune. And with so much fire in the card on the right, I find that a little bit challenging. Suspended. I love the word suspended for this particular card. I actually haven't had a close look at this. And I have no idea what this person may be suspended on. The light that is emanating from the head is really well done. I'm going to go with this one. And then we go to Death, which is illustrated very differently in these three decks. Love the simplicity of the card in the center. We see a sense of metamorphosis. Is that the right word? The new life rising, the soul rising in both of these cards, left and right. But I kind of like the simplicity of the card in the center. Temperance, blue and red. I think Textured gets this right, with red on the right, blue on the left side of the body. We have that angelic influence as well too. But again, a card that is kind of, I'm hesitating here. None of these decks do I use on a daily basis, or would I use on a daily basis. There would be very specific inspiration for pulling them out. And while I am using the Superlunaris now to get to know it and build a relationship with it, I think it's going to go the way of both of these decks, and it'll be one that I just pull out, perhaps for teaching, maybe, but from time to time. Not sure. The jury is still out on this. The devil. We have in the Textured Tarot, we have a couple of cards where we see figures on the mantelpiece above the fire. And these are really interesting cards to compare and contrast. If I have time, I'll leave that one out and I'll show you when we get to it. But yeah, I'm humming and hawing because, again, the Devil in the Textured Tarot has a Tildwick vibe. Yes, it does. It does, with the darkness as well too. Yeah. So oddly, I'm going to go with the Muse Tarot here and put that into my pile. Why? Well, we have a metamorphosis of sort coming from the bottom. Something is transforming. We do see the two, I don't know, is very interesting. Very, but again, can I say none? I don't want to choose none if that's the case. But there have been about 4 cards where none of them I have said, seen something absolutely fantastic. Let's go to Helen's comment. And isn't it interesting, Helen, how we all have we all have we all are inspired and see different things in different decks. And I think that is the beauty of having more than one deck, having multiple decks to look at together. There's a lot that we learn. There's a lot of inspiration we can gain from that. The tower in the Muse Tarot is quite creative. The way that we are looking, it's it's just the way this is all kind of coming apart. I'm gonna choose this one. Star. Star is a card of peace, of purification. It's a card of hope. It's a card of a guiding light. Yeah, some of these are difficult choices. I'm going to go with the one in the center. Moon. Superlunaris. You would think that I'd be choosing the moon from the Lunaris Tarot, but I'm actually going to go with the strawberry moon. I'm going to go with the strawberry moon. There's just something that feels different, special. I love the aspects of the fact that, we don't have dogs and different animals in this. We have the three humans, the aspects of self looking at each other. It's just a unique color to have in the moon card. And then we have the sun. Energy. 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 Muse Tarot. Now, in the Judgment card, I believe these all go by different names. So we have Judgment, Realization, and Awakening. For me, the Realization card in the Texture Tarot is just a little bit dark. To see what the intention is. This is a very important card to me. I love the keyword awakening. The path, the bridge that we see in the Judgment card in the far left is really beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna go pick Muse again. And then here's our final major. And I suppose, this depends what is kind of a stickler you are for tradition, whether you want to see the symbology in the corners, whether the mandorla is an important symbol. But I really do like the wreath in the Texture Tarot. I find it's really beautiful. All right, so let's go on to the suit of wands, not named wands not named actually on the cards in Superlunaris, and referred to as the suit of inspiration in the Muse Tarot. And I quite like for the purpose that I use the Muse Tarot, I quite like the change in the suit names. It definitely works for me. Hi, Heather. Welcome. I am really intrigued with the Textured Tarot, Ace of Wands. And we have some really interesting symbology here. So we have a succulent. We have a couple of succulents. We have energy that is emanating from perhaps the third eye. So this is quite well done. But for some reason, I'm very intrigued with this particular card. So that's the one I'm going to pick. Two of Wands. Now, what makes the Textured Tarot a little bit different from Superlunaris and the Muse is, while it is lightly illustrated, it is significantly more pip-like than the two on the other side. Nice to see Elizabeth and Heather together. They were classmates last year. So yeah, so I'm very intrigued with the Two of Inspiration. I think it's very cleverly cleverly executed. Three of Wands. Three of Wands. Textured Tarot, the triangle. So this is something that is important to me. And when there is another card, another deck that comes to mind is a slow tarot. I love it when, and I believe it is in the Four of Wands actually, where you see the teepee, but a recognition of the numbers just feels quite well done here. And I love the fabric art in the textured. So this is the card, one of the cards that I was talking about that could be compared and contrasted if it came up in a reading to the Devil, because we have what appears to be a similar scene. I'll just get the Devil card for you, just so you can see what I'm talking about here. And I don't know if you see this, but this is what I see. I feel like we're in a similar place in the house. And there's one other card that I really feel fits into this, into this set. And so while the textured is a collage deck, there is some cohesiveness with some of the themes that are going on. And also I think the simplicity of the pips really, it speaks to me. So Four of Wands, foundation of creativity, foundation of inspiration, foundation of the hearth. I really quite like that. I like that we have the square shape at the hearth. I'm not sure. I think I'll go like this. There we go. All right. So Five of Fire, confrontation, athleticism, challenge. I'm going to go traditional. Sixes bring harmony. They restore balance, peace, and beauty. This is the Six of creativity, often referred to as the success card. And I honestly don't really go much for cards like we see on the left. I prefer the reflection of the one in the center. And I need to look and see what's down on the bottom here. Yeah, that's just not going to do it for me. I'm going to go with this one. 7. The athleticism in the card on the left is great. I like the stance. We see two angry faces. Two angry faces. I'm just looking at Elizabeth's comment. You love her body language. Yeah, I get that. I get that, Elizabeth. And what I don't like in the Seven of Wands in the textured is that there's two faces. And I understand for illustrative purposes, it makes sense. I feel the dance pose, the energy very, very much of this one. And there's something about the magic of 7 that often gets lost in Rider-Waite-Smith clone decks. 7 is a very powerful number, and that one I just picked up feels kind of special. Energy, an abundance of energy. Well, I'm going to leave the high-heeled shoes for others to choose. And I'm going to go with this one. All right, now I was not aware that there now is an alternate card for the Nine of Wands in the textured tarot. This was not an option when I purchased it. So there is now the same figure fully clothed in the Nine of Wands. So 9 of inspiration. 9 of, this is our first 9, right? Our first triple completion. Which one? Which one speaks to you? That card in the center is very, very powerful. It's very powerful. I'm going to have to go with this one. And then we have the 10. And I really do like the Superlunaris. You know what I like about it? I like almost the matter of factness with which the woman is walking forward. Yeah, it's just another day of carrying sticks. I've got this. I'm heading home. I've done a great job. You know, there's a sense of completion. And I'm going to go home, and yes, there may be other tasks to do, but I don't know. I really quite like this card, and I love that there is a heart graffitied on the wall. Page, without a doubt, textured tarot has my heart. This card always has had a soft spot in my heart. The Knight of Inspiration and the Knight of Wands. The one in the center is a bit phallic for me. I'm going to go with the Muse Tarot on this one. Queen of Fire. This is an important card to me, and I've never really, there was something about this card. I don't know whether it's overdone. The paintbrushes are very clever. The fact that the paintbrushes make up the throne is really beautiful. But I have to say that the peacefulness of the face in the Muse Tarot gets to me. It gets to me a lot. There's something slightly awkward and unnatural, at least I feel it, in the Superlunaris Queen of Wands. That's just a personal thing. Please do not take offense. And then we have in the Muse Tarot, instead of kings, these are called the Muse of Inspiration. Yeah. And again, can I say none? But I'm going to go with this one. All right. So now we're going to go to the Suit of Cups. The Queen of Cups just fell out in this deck. She's really beautiful. Textured tarot. So let me know if you are presently using any or all of these decks, and if they have a specific feel for you, if there's or if there's something you feel that I have missed, you know, and not seen in a card, not given it due credit. Hello, Amy. Welcome. So without a doubt, there is something about the flow of water in the central card that is just extremely moving to me. And so I'm going to choose this one. The Two of Cups. As you know, you've heard me chat about this a couple of times. I've shared this deck, done a few readings with it. And that Two of Cups in the Superlunaris just speaks volumes to me. And I'm deeply moved by this card. It reminds me a little bit of the Judgment card in the Slow Tarot. 3. Similar vibe to the card, the middle, and the card on the right. All right, so I'm going to have to look really closely at the Four of Water and the Four of Emotion. All right. I am not all over a card where the figure looks bored. I feel like this card, there is so much more to this card than simply boredom. This is a card of emotional space. And remember that fours represent foundation. Also, they can have a sense of stagnancy as well, too, right? Because if the container has been closed for too long, then of course the water indeed could be stagnant. We also have this, right? The reflection of self in the waters below. So I'm going to choose the Superlunaris. And the reason I'm picking up the Superlunaris has to do with, this could be, I just think it's the best option of the four. So there we go. 5 of Cups. Release, letting go. I've never appreciated the ice in the 5 of emotions. I think the 5 of emotions, the 5 of water, the flow of blood, the flow of water is absolutely necessary. And I find that the scene is so poignant in the Superlunaris. And so I'm going to reach over and add that to my pile. 6 of Cups. Okay, so we're looking at childhood experiences, reflections, memories, nostalgia. And I'm going to go with the one that's joyful. For me, I feel the joy very much of this one in the center. And then we have a house of cards for the 7 of Cups. And I appreciate the take on this one. This card can be read in so many different ways, but I want you to go back and think about what I was saying earlier. And I also, when there's a challenging card that arises, want to remember that this is indeed a chariot. This is a moment, a place of growth. And we are contemplating what we are building upon and what we are growing. Ooh, Elizabeth, that would be really fun. That would be really fun. I can do that. I'm going to choose one in the center. Okay. And I have a feeling that most of the cards I'm going to be choosing are from indeed the textured. Here we go. 8 of emotions and 8 of cups. I love the layers. Always have loved the layers in the central card, but it was something about the champagne glasses that didn't sit well with me. And so I'm going to go with the Muse for the eclipse energy. I think the eclipse is very powerful here. 9 of emotions, completion of emotions, a sense of contentment. I'm big hum and a big haw for all of these. And I just don't know. I'm going to go with the card on the left. I get the cat and the cream thing, but so much more, so much more. Now, 10 of cups, without a doubt, textured wins on this one. I've always loved, loved, loved this card. And then we go to the second set of quartz. Now, I don't know whether it is my respect for the amount of hair that is on this woman's head, but I do love the scenery, and of the 3 for sure, the Superlunaris. I'm going to choose that one. Knight of Cups. I'm going to go with the connection with the, I was going to call it the oracle. I'm not sure if that's the right word. With the connection with the ear, right? With the nautilus in the background. This really speaks to me. And the Queen of Cups, without a doubt, I'm going to choose the Superlunaris. I believe in the textured tarot. This is the only differently, actually there's a couple. There is a king who has an amputee. There's a couple of differently abled beings in this deck. This is one of them. But I think this is a very powerful, powerful Queen of Cups. And then we go to the King and the Muse of Emotions. And Rasty is definitely, he's been a favorite forever and ever. I just love my little Rasty King of Cups. So there we go. And now we're going to go to the Suit of Swords. I'm going to try to go a little more quickly. Okay. Voices. I love it. I love that Chris Hand called this card Voices, this suit Voices. Really well done. And I'm actually going to choose that one. Love the prayer flags. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is, I can do this one. All right. 2. Very clever, the way that we have a sealed package here. The swords on the package. I have always loved all of the doors, the passageways in the Muse Tarot. But I'm not choosing that card. 3. There's lovely continuity between the 2 of Swords and the 3 of Swords in the Superlunaris Tarot, and I appreciate that. We have eyes overhead here. There's this 3 of Voices. I think that will be what I am going to go with. And this is easy, easy, easy for me because this is a favorite card. A 5 of Swords. I came to Game of Thrones very, very late to the party. And I don't know whether the card on the left reminds me of Game of Thrones or reminds me of perhaps Lord of the Rings, but this has a soft spot in my heart. 6 of Swords, moving to the light, moving to peace, leaving the confrontation behind. I'm going to go with these beautiful colors in the Superlunaris. 6 of Swords, 7 of Swords. Are we standing up for all that we are worthy of? Are we taking that doesn't belong to us? You know, of course, deception and theft is a possible potential interpretation, but it's limiting. And I think there's a lot of potential in this card that goes unexplored. And I really like that he's looking back. I do. Okay, 8 of Swords. 8 of Mind. 8 of Mind. Potential for transformation as well, too, in the 8 of Swords. 9 of Swords. Again, if we stay one moment longer, is it possible that we could awaken here? And I see that potential for awakening, perhaps in this card. I don't know. It might be a little too... Can I say there's too much jewelry in the card? The writing desk gets my vote here. This makes a lot of sense. Of course, this is also death of the ego, a sense of letting go. Page of Swords. So very peaceful card. Love Superlunaris. The Knight of Swords is very, very fun in the Superlunaris. And I have been choosing the Knights from the Muse because there is a sense of, there's no humans in the Knights, and it's about the energy. But I am going to choose this wild girl here. I really do resonate with her. I've always seen Candice Bergen in the center card. However, the Superlunaris Queen of Swords is something special, is she not? Muse is pretty amazing too, but this one is one of my favorite cards in this deck. And then we have, getting close to the end, so here's another differently abled figure in this deck. King. And I find him, I don't know what it is. There's something that's just not right in this card. And it has nothing to do with his being differently abled. I think this is a very powerful card. I'm going to go with Superlunaris. And then the final suit, Pentacles. Which is named Materials in the Textured Tarot. Okay, I'm going to go through this. Love all that is included in the Ace of Materials. Very cool card. All right, let's balance, reflection. This is a hard one. This is a hard one. It really is. Is the card on the right just too much? Just too much. I kind of like the pixie nature of the card in the center. 3 of Pentacles. Now, at first, I wasn't very happy about the above and below, but the Superlunaris 3, I think 3 of Pentacles, I think has something definitely to say that the other cards do not. 4. Do we go with the Bull? Do we go with the 4 of Materials? There is also in this card a sense of appreciation for all that we have, gratitude, and a sense of an abundance. And it's kind of nice to see a card that is painted in a different light. 5 of Earth, 5 of Materials. I'm going to go Superlunaris. 6. Maybe none. Textured. 7 of Materials. Now, I think this also would be an interesting card to compare with the Devil and the 4 of Wands. This is another one that I feel has a deep connection here. 7 of Materials. Quite like this card a lot. Never liked the 8 of Pentacles in the Textured Tarot. Nor very much in the Muse. So I'm going to go with this one. And then we have 9, too ostentatious for sure in the center. So let's go with Superlunaris. I've had some amazing readings with the unusual 10 of Pentacles in the center. The cloud, the smoke that is coming out, the fact that the tree, the roots of the tree are rising above. This is a very subtle yet powerful card, and I'm going to choose this one just because I've had such great readings with it. And then our final quartz, Page of Pentacles. Always have loved her. This is going to be hard because I really do love the court cards in the Suit of Pentacles in the Textured Tarot. Queen of Pentacles. textured tarot, and King or Muse. And I'm going to go with Humphrey Bogart. So even without counting, you can probably see that there are by far more cards that I have chosen in the textured tarot. I could count. Should we do a really quick count? I'll just have to separate them just out of curiosity. And unfortunately, I won't have time. Well, maybe I can do a quick pull, but I'm going to count. I'm pretty sure you've been watching. I don't know if anybody's been counting as we go. That would have been good to assign somebody to do a tally, so I didn't have to do this. It actually looks fairly even, surprisingly. So, all right, let's do a really quick. I love the texture tarot, not the cardstock. I know, I get that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 22 from the Muse tarot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 from Superlunaris. So you can do the math. It's actually closer than I thought it was. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 more cards in textured tarot. Could we actually do a card pull? Elizabeth thought Superlunaris was winning. And you know what? To tell you the honest truth, this might be also a level of comfort that I have with the textured, because this deck has been around for me the longest of the three. I've used it the most. I have taken more time to get to know these cards. But let's just right now, as I'm shuffling, I'm focusing on what is the benefit? I mean, the benefit of this exercise is looking at cards in new ways. But is there a deeper message beyond what is obvious to this particular exercise? Okay. And I'm going to choose a card. Of course, I cannot riffle shuffle because of the texture tarot. Okay, so the card that came out first is the Nine of Voices. And I think there is a sense of clarity, a potential for deeper understanding. Can I say spiritual connections, spiritual voices, signs and symbols? So this kind of side-by-side comparison gives us that opportunity to look, if I was taking more time, right? Looking at signs and symbols in a different way. Okay, second card. Allowing creativity to flow. Very interesting how that flow of energy is coming up out of the central card. And I think if yesterday's exercise, or this weekend's exercise, taught me anything was to let my creativity flow, and perhaps to leave these 78 cards together and to do a more thoughtful reading for myself. To lay all these cards out on the table and do a really good wash, and then perform a reading. Okay. So then I have one of my favorite cards. So interesting that of the 3 cards, there is not one from the Textured Tarot yet. That was the deck that I chose more cards from. So very interesting. So thank you. Thanks for joining me on this little deck comparison, and let me know what your thoughts are. What your thoughts are. And if you have a favorite, which one you are using more these days. Okay. Thanks very much for joining me here. And I will see some of you on Friday. And I'll be live very shortly in the Facebook group if you want to pop over there and join me then. Namaste, everybody. Bye for now. Bye, everybody.